Hello, this is Aaron with iBoard Repair, and today I'm working on an iPhone 11 Pro Max. It's in here because the ear speaker does not work. So the speaker up here next to your ear, this does not work. And sometimes it gives you no sound, sometimes it gives you a horrible screeching sound. So let me show you what it's doing. So that's terrible.
Please enter your password, then press
So speakerphone works fine, ear speaker gives you that horrible screeching sound. So I do already have an idea of what the problem is. I was kind of looking at this off camera. It's going to require that I run some jumpers. So I figured I'd show you the repair process of that. I'll go ahead and take this board out of the housing and we can get started with it. I guess before I take this all the way out, I can show you kind of what I'm working with in the housing so you get a better understanding of how this happened. This had been to another shop and they did a screen replacement, and after they did the screen replacement it will no longer turn on. It looks like when they were removing the screen, they just kind of scraped the board. Most likely with the side of the actual screen. There's these brackets on the screen. Right here, these brackets. If you kind of like pull it like this, it can like scrape while you're removing it. So they had messed up some resistors. I put these back, but they're kind of on sloppy, but they are attached. But they also messed up this area, and this is where the problem seems to be lying. I was able to determine, it kind of looked like there was some ripped vias right here, just kind of from looking at it, but it's kind of hard to tell. So I took another donor board actually, and I started scraping away at that. And I was able to see that, yeah, there's in fact two vias here that are no longer connected. So it's hard to figure out what these were other than just measuring. So I took my multimeter probes here and I just started measuring each one of these pads. And each one of these pins, I should say. And I noticed I got a small reading here, but that wasn't actually it. It's actually, I got another reading at this pin here, but that's still not full. That's a 0.08, not full short. It's on this side that I'm getting the full short. So this via goes to this resistor here. And I have a second one I did as well. And I noticed that this via here, the second one, goes to this other resistor here. So I did notice I also have one more line here, and I don't know where this line goes, and I'm having trouble determining if that line is actually broken or not. It's going to be hard for me to tell. I guess I can just go ahead and scrape this top layer and I can see if that happens to be broken or not. I'm not sure if I'll have to split this motherboard or if I can just work on the top board to fix this or what. But yeah, I'll continue taking this board out. Okay, I have this board out of the housing. And let's see what we can find out about this. If I can fix the issue without splitting this board, if I can find somewhere that I can attach to, I'll try to do that, but I'm not sure if that will be possible or not. Again, it's also really hard to tell if that second line was damaged, so I think I'm just going to have to scrape away this top layer and see what I'm working with here. So first there's a whole layer of ground I'm going to need to get through. This blade's already getting a little bit dull on me. Yeah, I think I'm going to switch my blade just so I'm as sharp as possible. This one might actually be dull as well. I'm trying to be careful because, like I said, I don't know if the via that was on this side is actually disconnected or not, and if it's not disconnected, it looks like it may have just made it. Let's see. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to see through if you put a little alcohol. I can't tell still. But I do see the two vias, this one and this one, were the two lines that I measured over here. If those are still good, they might be already disconnected. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm going to switch my blade one more time to a brand new one. Okay, it should be a little better. Those other two were both already like kind of used. There it is. So having trouble finding that one. But I do actually think that one is still connected. I don't think we're going to have a problem with it. Definitely don't want to cut it, so I'm being extra careful. No, that one looks like it's just fine. So I'm not going to mess with that one. Again, I wasn't able to determine where that one actually goes, so it's good that it's not cut, because I don't have a good idea of where I would be taking that jumper. But yeah, no, that's not cut. That's perfectly fine. So here's one of my vias. So I don't know if this goes straight down. In fact, I'm going to look at my other board again and see if I can figure that out. If it goes straight down, then we might still be okay. Then I can just run a wire directly to that rather than having to split this board and go run a wire like to the actual pads. And yeah, it looks like it goes straight down because there's still this point right here. That's where it's taking it, and it's still just there. So that's perfect. This is going to be fine. I don't think I'll have to split this board. I'm not going to have to do anything with this via, just this one via, and there's another one right here. I'll have to run jumpers to over here. And once those are in place, my speaker should work again. I'm working in quite a small area, as you can tell, so it's kind of hard. When you're zoomed in, you can't quite see how small this stuff is and how hard it is to kind of manipulate, but it's very small. In fact, I think I may even move my Barlow lens. No, I think it'll be okay. That's why every little tiny movement looks a little shaky though. So I'm curious to see if I'll get a diode motor reading off of this via. I believe I should. And I do. Perfect. Perfect. So I can definitely still use that. That's great to see. I believe this is the other one right here. Let's see if I get a diode motor reading off of this one. I do. Good. Okay, so it will be a little bit hard tinning these spots because it's just so small. Just gonna want to like bridge to other little pieces of copper around it, so I'll have to take measurements and make sure that's not happening. I don't want to break this any more than it's already broken, but it should still be fine. Okay. Again, just look how small that is. It's so small, it's hard to even get my probes onto there. Yeah, there's ground all around it. Don't know what that is. Maybe that's main, because that looks like a main reading. I'm curious if that's main. No, it's not. Okay, so I don't actually have like a micro pin soldering iron. I just have like relatively small, but not actually micro. So it does get a little bit hard to tin things that are just this tiny. But let's see if we can do it. The one on the left should be easy. The one on the right will be a little bit harder. If that's not connected to ground, that will be great because that's a nice big fat blob. If I can do the same thing on the other side without hitting ground, it will be great. If I connect it to ground, it will be a little bit hard to clear. Hopefully I won't. Okay, that may be as good as I can get. I don't want to risk it too much. Just make sure this is not ground. Nope, good reading. And good reading. So that's great. I managed to tin those. Wasn't as easy as it looked. Now I just need to run a jumper to the proper locations. So this is a bit tricky. It was tricky to tell what the problem was because the diode motor readings are still there. Like, I guess they aren't there. They're very high, but they're not zero. Yeah, those are definitely not connected. This needs to be connected to the resistor that's right there. Let me make sure I'm at the right one. And then 2 over from there should be another resistor for the second one. So just to make sure I don't get them mixed up, let's measure this again. So this one on the right should connect to the top one, and it does, and the one on the left should connect to this other one. However, this one's a little bit torn, so it's hard to get a reading. That's why I had both of them. I think I've gone ahead and torn this one too. So maybe I can get a reading. Yeah. So the one on the left goes to the top, the one on the right goes, the bottom, sorry. The one on the left goes to this one. And then there we go. Well, it's not good. It's getting a little confusing about which one's giving me which. So I'm getting readings from both of them. So I think there will be another way to tell. It should correspond, like the one on this side should get a pad closer to this side on my board view. So let's see if I can figure it out that way. So if I look at my board view here, I have, these are the two lines I'm missing: speaker amp, top V-sense negative, and speaker amp, top V-sense positive. So these are the two resistors that I'm working with. So when I click on this side of the resistor, this line is like going somewhere through here. And this is the negative. If I flip this over, the negative is on this side, the positive is on this side. Negative, positive. So how does that correspond to the actual board? Let's see. Negative. So negative will be the side that's closer to the screw bracket. Yeah, negative, positive. Okay, I was looking at the two wrong ones. But still, negative will be the side that's closer to the screw bracket. Positive will be away from the screw bracket. So negative will be closer to the screw bracket, and then positive will be further from the screw bracket. Okay, I just really didn't want to mess up. The negative is closer to the screw bracket. So here will go to here, the negative line. This is the positive line. It will go to the one further from the screw bracket. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and tin these things now, and then I'll run a jumper, and should work. So we get a little bit more than that. Should be okay. So I have some extremely fine jumper wire here. And I'll route it this way. I guess I'll do this one first, so I can route that one this way and the other one this way. This jumper wire is 9 thousandths of a millimeter, so very, very small. So this one I'll run like that. That does look attached, but let's see if I can get a tiny bit more solder onto there. Hello. Sorry, had a customer come in. So this isn't bad, but if I can get a little more solder onto there. There we go. That looks pretty good. Oh, great. Okay. Squeeze that wire a little too hard. Okay, there we go. I'll have to run some solder mask onto here as well to make sure the wire doesn't move and it doesn't get shorted to ground. That looks like good positioning though. Good. So that looks okay to me. We'll do the same thing with the other wire, or with the other pad. Just want to run a little bit higher. I haven't ran jumpers in quite a while either, so I'm a little out of practice for this type of small manipulation. one might be a little bit easier to attach, hopefully. I got a little bit more room at least. And that one actually attached pretty nicely, so I'm not going to mess with that one too much. This one I need to attach to this tiny little via where I don't have as much solder on this one. Good, that attached nicely again. As long as I don't mess anything else up now, I could just put the solder mask on, and this should be okay now. I'm even a little bit afraid to brush this until I have some solder mask on it. I want to make sure this tail is not going to short to ground though. That should be fine like that. So now let me check diode mode on those pins. Before they were pretty high. They should be more normal now. Yeah, 72, 28. Is 28 normal? Oh yeah, it's because it's on the other side of the resistor. That's fine. Okay. So instead of like brushing this, I'm just going to spray a little bit of defluxer onto here, and then I'll try to blow it off because I really don't want to brush these wires very much. Not very many people use defluxer, but it works well. So for now, I'm satisfied with that. And I'm going to put down some solder mask. I'm surprised this isn't giving me a short reading because it looks like it's touching this, but I guess it's just not touching it enough. I'll just use the classic green solder mask that I've had for many, many, many years. In fact, I don't even know if it's like, if there's an expiration date on it, but I've used it for a long time. Still works. I think I'll hold this down for a second while I'm first putting the UV light onto it so it stays down. That hardened it just enough that it stays in place now. And before I fully cure it, I think I'll give it one more measurement with my with my multimeter here. Should have cleaned it up first. And yeah, now I'll go ahead and fully cure this. It'll take a few minutes. I'll be back once it's done for the results. Okay, so I think it should be okay by now. It looks like that first little bit that I used was too liquidy. So in this area it doesn't look quite as good. But you know what? I'm pretty sure this is fine. So I may go back and touch it up a little bit more now that it's fully in place just to make sure it doesn't move. But I'm curious now to see if it works. So let's put it in the housing and see if we're getting normal sound. Alright, I don't have everything plugged in, but I have enough plugged in that, you know, I don't think I have the SIM card plugged in. Let me grab my SIM. So I hope it works. I don't know for sure.
Please enter your...
Sadly, still no sound.
Please enter your password.
So I don't know what else is missing. Okay, so it actually is working. That was a little bit disheartening to see all that work and to see it still not working. But I guess the bad lines must have killed the original speaker, because with an aftermarket speaker, it's actually working. And I tested like 3 aftermarket speakers before I had figured out what this problem actually was. And none of them were working before. But now, since the lines are repaired, it is working. So with the aftermarket speaker plugged in, I will show you. I just tested it off camera, so I know it works. I'm very glad this time was not wasted.
Your password, then press pound.
So you can hear that it's working. I'll let it go one more time. I'll change it to speakerphone.
Please enter your password, then press pound.
So there you go. So it is working. I will have to change the speaker flex, and I'll also have to change the proximity sensor so I can maintain Face ID on this phone. But the jumper solution worked. I'm very, very glad to see that. That was kind of a bummer to see at first that it wasn't working, but it is working. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry for the little mishap, but we got a working phone now. Have a good one. Bye.